And allegedly, he's like the last remaining horror franchise around because when we go through that evidence locker, we're just seeing all these other movie props.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
stupid.
it is stupid. Hello, welcome to another episode of A Ghost in the Magazine. I'm Steph,
And I'm Elle.
I'm Mel.
Sadie.
And I'm Matt.
and we're doing another Defend Yourself episode, and this one's mine, and it's Bride of Chucky. Who
Yeah.
hates this movie?
I don't hate it. It's just I'm sick of the by Chucky. The first Chucky traumatized me so much because for one, I watched it way too young. There's no
Same,
reason to be watching that. So by the time we
same.
got to the second one, I feel like this one we just lost the plot. Now we're just doing weird shit with dolls because we can. Like, you know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
One and three were I can get behind those, but all the rest of them, I'm not on board.
Mm.
You guys, this one's kind of my favorite. I was ready to roast it, and I couldn't really remember it. I had to rewatch it, and I was like, you know what? I'm like way more on board with this than I was in 1998.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Jennifer Tilly's
no.
nice, so that's one reason I like this movie.
That's
But
the only reason I like this
fair
Well,
movie.
enough.
okay, that's fine. And I fully expect and respect that. However, everyone's already seen this movie, right? Like, this was nobody's first time seeing this
No,
movie
fair
because
enough.
No,
everybody knows this movie, right? So
Mhm.
yeah.
here is my some of my defense. So, heard 1 and 3, that was child's play. That was child's play, right? And
Mhm.
Chucky was a very like that was the introduction to Chucky, and he's very serious serial killer, right? Who's obsessed with a child. This was all about Andy Barclay, and it's very dramatic, right? Um, well, and then you enter territory where it stops being about it stops being about Andy, and it turns into a horror comedy, and I love that. Okay, before Chucky was Chucky the doll,
Yeah.
he was the Lakeshore Strangler. He was
Um,
just, that's not funny. It's not funny to go around strangling ladies.
Was the
But,
15th.
you know, everybody has their thing, their niche, if you will. That was his. And you know, around that time, I don't know the timeline, he was Charles Lee Ray, a guy who I just think it's funny. You guys, I think it's funny that he's a serial killer in a doll, but on top of that, he's a fuck boy. Like, I think that's so funny. I think that's so funny to me. And then this introduction to Tiffany, whose boobs are on my head, and she's the best character in the franchise. Okay, I love Jennifer Tilly, and I think she's so
Arguably a
funny.
better murderer than Chucky.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes. Well,
I
because
think,
men. Oh,
yeah.
sorry, Matt.
that's okay. I'm well aware of our flaws.
At
Uh,
murdering.
and Chucky played voiced by the great Brad Dourif.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
yeah.
what I
how
was gonna
can
say.
you?
Everybody in this movie was an icon. I personally am an Alexis Arquette fan. All the Arquettes could get it, honestly. So they all have
Period.
something like weird, cool about them. I don't know. They
No,
Very
just
they really do.
yeah.
interesting, like filmography with Alexis Arquette. It's diverse.
Yeah.
And, and it's funny. I
Yeah.
I just think it's funny. Um, the bath, like the kill scenes in this movie are super iconic. They're very fun. Her getting electrocuted in the bathtub, amazing. When she comes back as the doll, amazing. John Ritter, rest in peace, getting nail gunned to the face. Well, it's not a nail gun, but it's nailed to the face.
Mhm.
And then popping up later after they presumed dead. Iconic. Sorry,
Epic.
I love them. I
The
do. I have
waterbed newlywed scene was awesome. So good. Yeah.
that. But then you have to address, if you want to talk about the waterbed mirror scene, then you have to address the ridiculousness of dolls boning. It was giving Team America World Police.
That part was so ridiculous. Yeah.
It's
But like
so funny.
that part always just makes me laugh because at a certain point you're like, yeah, now I see how ridiculous it was to make my dolls make out. Like this is how
But we did
stupid
it.
I can look.
Now kiss. We did
Yeah,
it.
we definitely did it, but like now I'm like, yeah, I look fucking dumb doing that shit.
She literally stops him during and says, "Wait, do you have a rubber?" He says, "I am rubber." "Oh, I thought you were plastic." Don't tell me that's not funny.
It's
It's on the funny
funny,
side of things. It's
but I
it's on
guess
the funny
yeah,
side.
you never discussed the idea of can you get her pregnant? No one ever even discussed the idea did Chucky doll have a dick? Because like dolls don't
Exactly.
have dicks. Like, so what are they
That's,
bumping together?
Baby
that's what I'm
oopsie.
saying. He says, "I'm anatomically correct." Why? Why is he?
I mean, they did it in Baby Oopsie too.
Please, I
Yes.
try so hard not to remember that movie.
Ah, I just lost the game. Ah.
Damn it!
I'm just saying,
Ah.
like, I don't know what it is about these filmmakers, but they like that for some reason.
Or just
Mm.
the random witchcraft that it takes to get these two
No,
involved.
don't get me
No,
started on the voodoo. It's
yeah,
so
it's bad. That's
it's
really bad.
very.
That's
That part is the
actually,
worst part. Yeah, I would
I
agree
find
with that.
myself like doing dishes randomly and I'll start doing that chant because it's stuck. It's stuck here and it's nothing.
And then it also made you and Elle think about Band of the Hand, right?
Damn it!
That was a posh ass RV though. I
Yeah.
grew up in an RV and they're not like that on the inside. I don't know how she got a bathtub in there, y'all. It was amazing. The set of the RV I really liked.
yeah.
It was. Um it although I love her very much, we have to acknowledge the fact that she's a really shitty person and she romanticizes serial killers, which is this is just like a lesson in what happens when you do that. Because first of all, he didn't want to marry you.
Right. He
He
was
didn't
never
want
gonna do
to
that.
marry you. You went through the effort of getting his mangled doll body back and stitching him back together and voodooing his soul back, and he still didn't want to marry you.
Right.
A lesson.
I was just gonna ask where everybody stands on the 2019 remake,
I
The
only got
one with Mark
Aubrey
Hamill?
Plaza.
Yeah. I think
I have not watched it, so
Me neither.
I think we covered it.
It's bad.
Oh, wait, you mean just the Child's
The
Play
TV show?
remake?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We
it's
covered
bad.
it.
Yeah, we covered it. Not really my favorite. I'm not sure what the intention there was, but it like maybe to like modernize him, but you don't really have to do that. It's not that
the whole point
serious.
was that he's just like a doll alive on witchcraft. We don't need to turn him into a robot.
Literally,
Like
like fake voodoo.
right.
And
That's
the series, how about that? Because I think that's rather
Oh,
fun.
shit.
I like this series. I haven't watched season 2. I'm currently rewatching season 1. The only thing that I did not like about the series is them like aging and kind of sexualizing children because this isn't one where they have 35-year-olds playing
Yeah,
high
I
school
looked it up. It's
students.
actually kids. Yeah.
It's actual kids and they're like
That's all.
partying and hooking up and I don't think that's okay, but the rest of it is
Yeah,
cool. I like that Fiona's in it.
I said to my wife, I said, this girl is definitely 25 playing a 16-year-old. And I looked it up. I was like, yikes. Nope.
She's
She
just
actually is really young. Do we want to talk about this movie?
It's just the justification. Like I don't hate it. It's just at a certain point, it's like, yeah, okay, haunted, not haunted, like sentient doll of a serial killer. At what point does anyone just punt this motherfucker? Like they
what
can't
I've
be that
always said.
strong.
I've always said that. Just kick him
Just
in the
kick it.
face, wrap him in a sheet, swing him around,
Right.
put him in a
Something.
box and lock
They're
it,
not, do they have superhuman strength in their tiny doll bodies? Like,
No, I mean she locked it in a pretty crappy like wooden, crate under the table, and he could not break free until he had a tool to saw free. So
mhm,
yeah, I would say that any method would probably work if that would work.
I don't know.
Like Ernest Scared Stupid when they put the troll in the box and put him under the tree. Just do that with Chucky. Put him in
literally.
chains, put him in the box, put the box in chains, put it under a tree, put a tree. It's
Yeah,
all
like,
good.
Drop him in the bottom of the ocean, put some rocks in that box,
The
like sink
Mariana
him.
Trench.
Right. Yeah, where the
like
Meg is. Sink him.
Yeah, but we've seen Jason come back from that before.
that's true. But Jason's a different breed. This is a fucking doll. Like at a certain point, it's like,
Who gets humanized? Like the
Well,
longer he's in the doll body, the more you can hurt him. So drown him.
and allegedly he's like the last remaining horror franchise around because when we go through that evidence locker, we're just seeing all these other movie props.
Yeah.
Yeah.
mhm.
It's
Yeah,
stupid.
it is stupid. I
Daring,
I
but
have no
think that's the
defense for that.
problem I have when it comes to the first one. Cool, I could get that, whatever. But even then, it was still a little bit silly. But like, it's hard to suspend disbelief in this movie that a bunch of grown ass people are getting fucked up by two dolls. Like, just
People are kind of dumb sometimes, and
uh,
because the teenagers, the
mhm.
35-year-old teenagers that are running away together, who are transporting these dolls, really believed that they could, first of all, start a new life with $1,000. Um,
It's 1998 money, I guess.
I know, but
Still,
still,
I was
That's like
alive in 1998.
right. That's
No.
not enough money.
Oh.
it's not.
They couldn't pick two more wooden actors either.
No, they're terrible. They have no chemistry either.
They
I
no.
love
don't know.
they love each other, then they suspect each other of being a
Immediately.
murderer. Like it
And
happens, that trope just goes on and on.
And I'm sorry, like, I live with my boyfriend. He's not capable of murders. And also, like, no, he's not capable of those kinds of murders. He's just not. They stop being able to do things for themselves, even when they have a girlfriend or a
hmm
wife.
Oh, trust me, I know. But
I feel
a
attacked.
thousand
I'm
dollars.
very capable of things.
I said, well, capable and willing, I get different things.
Right, capable and willing are
I
two.
don't remember how.
I mean,
You would
Chuck's not different. He was doing all those mid murders, and she basically was like, "What even are you doing? This is not enough." You
Right.
know?
Real, literally, she's like, what would Martha Stewart do? Terrible.
But I
And
think
but
that
that's also something that I think is really funny about this movie. He's literally falling in love with her
mhm,
like all over again while she's upstaging him with murdering.
fair
And he's
enough.
like, "Oh, wow." But he's still not shit.
No, he's still a piece of shit, and he will always be a piece of shit. The point is like I think it really points to the fact that he's not a great murderer. He's not a
Yeah.
great serial killer. He's just some dude who likes murdering, but like she's amazing.
It's
Like
also highly misogynist.
there is
Yes,
that.
he is. He's a fuck boy. Like he is. And I
But
think that's funny, but I also think that this movie was probably a bridge to Seed of Chucky because the only reason Seed of Chucky would have been made is because someone had the idea, what if Chucky had a baby and then they had to get there?
well, now
Right.
that's a movie I fucking hate.
I don't love it more than this one, but I think it's so funny. I loved Glenn. I did.
Don't get me
He's
wrong,
so
having this
weird.
whole cute weirdo non-binary child doll thing because it would be non-binary anyway. It's a fucking doll.
He's brought it up, yeah, in this series. He's like, I gotta, whatever he said, a non-binary kid or a gender fluid kid. It was very fun. Claim your child, Chucky.
You gotta be a murderer like your dad. I'm like, this kid clearly does not want to be doing any of this shit. Like, you didn't ask for this. But whatever.
I'm not mad about any of it. But then I do have to say, like, these two movies, Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky, really did take a departure. But sometimes when a franchise takes a departure, it's really, really terrible and confusing, like in Halloween. And you're like, what the fuck was that? And you
And
do that
and
here?
that's
What
where
the
we
fuck was that?
disagree.
Oh,
You're talking Season of the Witch?
no, I'm not even talking Season of the Witch. I'm talking about when I discovered the different timelines of Halloween. Because I was like, why would they do that?
Yeah, there's
Okay,
way too many Halloween timelines.
Just
It's
confusing
confusing.
to me.
It is so
Uh,
confusing.
fair
And
enough.
I'm watching movies to have a good time, not to do schoolwork.
Fair enough. I guess I'll give it credit for that. At least you know who these characters are and like
Correct.
their
And then
motivations don't ever really change.
after these two movies, then it gets serious again with Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky. And I don't think that those are necessarily the best, but I'm not mad at those either. And then Andy comes back as an adult, and I'm like, ooh, that's fun.
Mm.
I love the franchise.
I had totally forgotten that John Ritter was in this.
Never forget.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I mean, he got nailed in the face. Did that help?
No, I
Right.
like John Ritter. I didn't like the
Oh.
movie.
Oh, my bad.
Well, at
Just
least you're honest. You know that you just didn't like it. I think it has its redeeming points, but at the same time, I feel like if Chucky was just like a standalone situation, I would have been perfectly fine with that too.
well for me, and like some of you know this about me, like after about like 1989, like I'm just 89 to like 2001, like just I don't want to watch any of those horror movies.
Valid.
I
It's just
just
remember how much I hated Urban Legend?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that fucking movie. What are you talking about?
It's okay to have an opinion.
I guess.
You're
Well,
wrong.
shit. But I don't love it, but I do remember it scaring the ever loving bejesus out of
Yeah,
me.
I've seen it a bunch of times.
I mean, the lone like exception I would suppose would be Scream.
Yeah.
Scream's
Scream's good. Can't have people scream. But I feel like watching movies in horror movies in that kind of decade or so, really you have to be like unattached to like genre in a way. Like if you're like Steph and you can like somehow do the mental gymnastics to make this a comedy, then like you might have a good time. Just
can
don't
look past
attach
all the
yourself to
horrible.
horror as a genre. And then maybe you'll like any movie from that time period, which could be camp or like rom-com or something random because genre was all over the place.
That
So
is
I
true.
think, yeah, the horror just is like not speaking horror because they were trying to do too much.
Just
You
be a little stupid. I think I might just be a little stupid sometimes. And it's I have smoked a lot of weed in my life. And I think sometimes that comes into play when I watch horror movies, which is why I'm not mad at Evil Bong either. I like little stupid movies with horror elements. I do. Because maybe I'm a little stupid.
fair enough. But I don't know. It's just I just don't fucks with the haunted doll puppet.
I
What
love that
fucking
though. Cursed toys.
I hate cursed toys. I'm sorry. Like
And you know what's funny about that is because I also watched Child's Play way too young, and I think it was like I was very small, and my mom's boyfriend had called me and my sister out, and we were playing with Polly Pockets at the time. I'll never forget.
Were
And
they
he called us
possessed?
out. Huh?
Were the Polly Pockets possessed?
I sure hope not. But they were in my mind after this. And we went out into the living room and it was like Chucky popped right out on the screen and like it altered my brain chemistry so hard that when we would go to sleep at night, I would put things on top of my toy box and leave the closet light on so the dolls couldn't come in.
that was
Hmm.
very much me. And like
Yeah.
I briefly considered just throwing every fucking doll I own in the trash. Like I was like, I can't do this. Like,
Yeah, it took me a long time to be able to watch Chucky again. And then I guess I had to make it like fun in my mind to not be scared. And so it's my favorite now. I don't know how it happened.
I don't know.
What
I guess if you're willing to just go through a level of suspended belief and just like throw logic out of the window and ignore all of the horrible misogyny that exists in these movies, then you'll have a good time. But
if we're
Yeah.
talking about
Scary. I
movies,
just, like as a kid, even it wasn't really scary. I just didn't like get
not
it.
at all. we're talking about movies that we watched way too young that scarred us for life. May I just mention Chud? I watched that when I was way too young. Not scary in any way, but I was like
Yeah,
5 or 6, and I threw up behind my parents' couch.
That checks out,
Yeah.
actually.
Chucky was one and Jeepers Creepers was the other. I
The
watched that
Exorcist.
in a formative time of my life, and I should not have done that.
No, little girls should not watch The Exorcist.
No,
Maybe not.
or Jeepers Creepers. Jesus Christ. Like,
No, especially after learning like what Jeepers Creepers is based off of.
I didn't
Terrible.
know that when I was like
Oh,
9. I
yeah,
shouldn't have
nobody
been
knew that.
watching it, but it was just horrifying, just absolutely horrifying. I would have dreams just of running through cornfields. I don't even live near one, so like, what the
Fields.
fuck?
That was a theater viewing that me and my lady friend walked out of Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see that in the movie theater.
Yeah, seriously.
Scary. You guys, we have to rate this.
Give it a 3.
I said a 3. I kind of liked it. Solid.
I'm looking at you too.
I one amulet.
One amulet of Damballa? That's rich.
At least you didn't give it a 0. No.
It's got Jennifer Tilly in it. I couldn't give it a 0.
That's
Bard.
Come on, seriously. Yes.
I'm gonna give it a 2.5, the same that I gave the llama one.
okay.
That's fair. I'm gonna give it a 3 because I know it's not great, but it's good to me.
See, I'm a little more harsh on like these movies of this era than all of you. It's just
Well,
I
to be
don't
fair,
like
I'm
any of
never a
them.
horror girly, so this is like my reintroduction to a bunch of this shit. So most of the time now, most of them are a good time for me for one reason or another, because I didn't used to watch shit like this.
I usually find good things about movies like Lamageddon. I had so much fun watching Lamageddon. Sensual
Yeah,
saxophone music.
it had its moments. It was a bad movie, but it made me giggle. So
Yeah.
like that's good enough.
Like I guess it was like good for a revisit because you do like forget things about these. Like I forgot that like they set up the next movie at the end. Like just like going
Mhm.
back and watching I watched Heat the other day and I totally forgot Natalie Portman's character tried to commit suicide at like age 13 and that Waingro was also like a serial killer of like women of the night. Like there's just shit that you don't remember.
Fair enough.
Seen that movie?
You never seen Heat?
No,
If you got 2 hours and 54 minutes to waste,
I don't.
there you
Oh
go.
wow, when was I ever?
No.
It's arguably Michael Mann's best film.
My boomer, non-boomer hot take is movies are too fucking long now. Like that's too long. Like
Some movies I
And
can sit through.
poems.
Like Dune is really long. I can sit through that. Some movies I can. Like you have to engage me though. Like you literally have to pick me up and piggyback me through the movie to get me there because my brain will violently disengage.
just
And then
feel
I
like
need to go.
3 hours, you could probably lose some of the exposition here at a certain point. Like, come on.
For a lot of movies, I would agree with that. I'd say he is an exception. The ensemble cast is amazing, and it does rip you right from the start. Like immediately are in a heist.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
I do like when movies start popping and don't make me wait for, you know, the
Yeah.
action.
Now, Ninja Terminator, on the other hand,
I volunteer Ellis tribute to watch Ninja Terminator.
I'm still waiting for the watch party with Samurai Cop with her.
Sorry, I added to your your TBW.
For more bad movie recommendations, I'm your guy.
We're at like 6 hours of time I don't have for bad movies.
Correct. I only
If
do
it's a
that.
bad one, it needs to be short.
Yeah,
Lamageddon was an hour and 6 minutes or something like that.
the longer it is, honestly, like the more sittings it's gonna take. Like a 2.5 some hour movie, I'm gonna like pause it 1,000 times, like make dinner, leave, like work
Take a
out,
nap.
like work. Like it's gonna take me all week to watch a 2.5 hour long movie.
Yeah, that sounds like
Versus
work.
like could have made it an hour or 15.
And on that note, I'm going to end this podcast episode. You can find this podcast on the interweb, just in the magazine.site, or on Instagram at JITM Podcast. And you can find me on Instagram at Steph Spector.
You can find me at Nocturnical.
You can find me at Mel Share.
Find me at Sadie B.
You can't find me because I'm off all that shit because it was getting way too divisive.
Yeah. Bye.